talk about, because with Familiaris, which was also I put out, right?
Yeah.
Um, and I remember talking to you because I still really didn't know how to. I still don't really know how to operate a DIY vinyl record label, but like at that time, especially, I was like talking to other bands and they were talking about getting publicists and stuff. And I remember for you, I was like, would this be something you're interested in? Because I'd gotten an email from a publicist who like worked with like Torch and like bigger kind of like metal bands, and like they were name dropping like Revolver, like magazines.
Yeah.
And I remember like being like, dude, would this be something you're interested in? I could like drop a couple hundred on it, and you were like, no, I'd rather just have it grow organically.
Yeah. Cause like, I don't know, like, my sister is good at that shit. Like, she went to school for marketing. She was in a band and they were getting like these like shit written about them all the time. And I was like, how do you do that? And it's like, oh, you have to submit it to people. And I was like, that seems fucking weird. But yeah, it's crazy because everyone, basically everyone that likes our music, like it's cool to me because every band that I've ever liked ever has been because I listened to a song. I was like, this song's awesome. I'm going to add it to my shit or whatever. And like, I feel like when that happens, people like take more ownership of, you know, like their interests and their likes and stuff like that instead of like having somebody else tell them. I don't know. It's not really about that, I guess, but I don't feel, I feel kind of icky just like marketing. Like I work for a digital marketing company and I'm just like, ugh, I don't like any of this. But yeah,
Yeah, it's tricky because I think it might help sometimes, but is it worth the payoff of like, you know, is it, do you really get enough in return, or like would that have happened if you just waited an extra 6 months, especially for the music we play? Like
yeah,
it's like kind of more DIY level. Like there's bigger bands playing math rock, but for the most part, if your album's on the internet and it's good, like people will tend to find it, you know?
yeah. That's my philosophy too. It's like, and that's why it's so crazy that people like actually listen to my shit and it's like, it's awesome because lots of it is just people telling their friends, and that's like the best. And if like somebody messaged me, I'm like thank you for fucking listening at all. Like it's like really a dream come true. But yeah, it kind of takes some of the fun out of it if like you know maybe not, maybe it won't, and maybe I'm just being a fucking stickler or something. But
You're too punk, dude. There's benefits of it's, and it's not to knock the other thing. It's just like, well,
yeah,
because you again, you played like legit, as you were saying, like more legitimate shows, like huge shows. But you're also like a career musician in a lot of ways, right?
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it just depends on your goals, really, with it, and what you're trying to achieve. So, if that's what makes you happy with the release, then that's what it is. There's no need to go any further unless you're like mentally prepared to go down that route, right?
I feel very privileged even saying that because like the fact that like especially like you and like other people that's like they are completely like I've been kind of like this is kind of like my at this point it's still like a kind of a hobby. Like I love to do it, but like there's basically no sustainability in it. But the thing is like if I did fully jump in, I would probably be doing everything possible because it's like you're like life or death almost like at that point. Like that's your money, and
It's
like
hard.
you have to be able to like live.
Mm.
And like but for me right now it's like totally like, oh, this is my art, this is my little thing. So I'm like very like really picky about like I don't even like uh I don't know, I'm like very just picky about that kind of stuff. Yeah,
I
Yeah,
also don't think social media really makes it any better.
yeah, yeah,
I mean, just getting on social media these days is so exhausting, right? And then let alone it's what I always find it interesting whenever I speak to people who are in some kind of marketing field, because to me, it almost seems like not anyone can do it, but at the same time, depending on what your goals are, it's almost like you're forced to learn it on your own,
Yeah.
to some degree because of how it's changing on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
And, it like organic reach, for example. I mean, there's just straight up algorithms working against you for that.
Yeah.
And it's like, how often are you liking other people's posts and all this kind of stuff? And then depending on,
Do you keep your fans engaged? Are you making
like
action? I'm like, fuck all of this, like,
yeah.
like the second, like I did it for a second on my old like Instagram videos of like myself just playing. Cause I was like, I was taking a bunch of acid. So I was like, I'm just going to do music all the time. This is all I'm going to do. I'm not going to do anything else. So I was like, learning about like, you got a hashtag, you got to have calls to action. You got to have people engaged in the comments. And I'm just like, ugh, it's like fucking disgusting.
I know, man. Well, and that's the thing. It doesn't make it like social media doesn't help at this point with what their goals are, which is essentially just to monetize and monetize.
Yeah.
New ways to monetize, right? So for guys like us that are just so proud of this like brainchild we put together, and it's like we want to leave it at that, but at the same time we also wanted to do something, and then it sucks.
Yeah. It's a weird sect, because obviously I do want people to hear this thing that I like worked on and stuff. Like I don't even tell people at my job that I do anything, because I think it's so cringe when people are like, I play guitar.
Yeah.
Like I make lo-fi beats. Yeah. Even though it's not cringe at all. It's like they're just putting themselves out there and being true to themselves. I don't know why. It's like this stupid thing I have that it's just like any sort of self-promotion is bad, but it's not at all. It's just like, I don't know.
There's a fine line. Like you should be proud of what you do, but I think like social media has also sold everyone on being an entrepreneur. Like everyone's an entrepreneur in some way now. And really they're just making money off us being like, what's up everyone? Like be sure to buy my shit. Like,
Yeah.
So I feel like we're all getting played kind of, but there is a line somewhere where it's really, I guess, how you interact with it and how you use it. But they make it hard to do it the right way. Like they make it hard to do it and not be like this all the time,
Yeah.
Madhu and I were actually talking about this yesterday. It was kind of funny. And we were, Joe, so Madhu's my wife, by the way.
Okay.
So when we were talking about this, we were saying how like, musicians these days on social media, it's almost like we're in competition with really anyone. Oh my God. Hey,
there
Kitty.
they are.
Look at Butter.
What up?
Butter.